Hello, everyone. I'm Beatrice Rinchetti, and I'm coming to you live from the studio at Cityscape Global. And I'm so excited to be here with Rolando Martins, board member at Expo City Dubai, and formerly Chief Operating Officer and Chief Visitor Experience Officer at Expo 2020 Dubai. Hello, Rolando. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Fantastic. So let's go straight in. So you've obviously been part of several world expos, from Lisbon in 1998 to Dubai in 2020. What have been the most defining moments in your personal journey of designing and leading these landmark global events?
Well, it all started with Lisbon, as you rightly said. And of course, the first expo, especially because it was in my own country, has a special meaning for me in a learning curve through the process for those 30 years of the World Expos. But of course, that was the first one. In each of expos, which have similar things, but they're also different in a way, there are very, very important moments, which are the planning phase, and I guess we'll be talking about it later. And then the really interesting moments is the opening day, the first day. It's when you open doors and you immediately have the reaction of the visitors. And by that, on the first day, you immediately get if you succeeded or not, because that's how people react to what you've prepared for them for years, that you immediately see in the eyes of the people. And you need to be very careful and watch the kids. They are the best judges of all of your work. Then there's another very important moment, maybe slightly more sad, which is the last day of Expo. The closing ceremony, it's also very, very intense, but not necessarily in such a positive way, because you feel that it all will finish that day. Those are really important days, opening and closing days of Expo.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And let's talk about World Expos in general. So they are often remembered not just for their architecture, but also for how they reshape the entire city. So from your experience, what lasting impact did these events have on urban development, identity, and global positioning?
Allow me to answer your questions, maybe rephrasing a little bit your question. Because it's my strong belief that we should prepare for the legacy of an expo. And we need to know what we want for that piece of land, for that territory where an expo takes place, after expo. And then we just add the layer of the 6 months of the expo. But if you really want a successful expo, you need to prepare it for the after expo period. And that's how you just then add the 6 months with entertainment and the invitation of the countries and all the visitors. But what is behind an expo is really what it comes after, and really changes a city or a region when it takes place. This is how an expo should be judged, is by the success in our legacy plan.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. The legacy piece is absolutely key. Fantastic. So let's talk about the different phases that come into planning the expo.
Okay.
So hosting one obviously involves years of preparation, multiple phases. So from vision to design and operations, and like you said, the legacy management. Could you walk us through the main stages of bringing an expo to life, and then what makes each phase so critical to success?
So you should start, I guess, by having a clear vision for what's the purpose of the expo. And that is related with the role of that territory within the region or the city that it is going to be bidding for. So a vision that comes with a theme, that comes with a purpose that you associate with a strategy. Phase one. And spend some time on that, because it's really important. It should relate with the identity of the place or the city that will be hosting the expo. Then the planning phase should all reflect that vision in terms of the master plan, in terms of the structure, in terms of the stakeholders that you engage as early as possible to be part of that direction, that purpose of the expo. Then you have the construction phase, of course, and the preparation that you need to have the physical transformation of the site, infrastructure, the buildings that you need to put up for. Don't spend too much on that, and give time for the next phase, which is operations. Unfortunately, generally, all expos start operating the day they open doors, but you should give them a few months to actually test the equipments and the buildings and the assets. So when they open doors, they are really ready to host visitors and live with them in a comfortable way. So those are the 4 phases related to expo. And then, of course, the most important one is the day after, and how you have, in the previous ones, being prepared to initiate the 5th. I can tell you that in Lisbon, our first expo, we reopened the site 15 days after closing the event, because everything has been planned in such a way that then it was sort of easy to enter the urban fabric phase of the territory. Some others take a few years, and unfortunately some of them never reach that stage, because the day they close the expo is the day that the territory stops living as a living body.
Yeah, of course. And it leaves it as an incomplete story, doesn't it? That's absolutely fascinating. Fantastic. So looking to the future, Riyadh is obviously preparing to host Expo 2030. So how do you believe your experience can contribute to shaping its success, both in terms of visitor experience and long-term impact on the city?
I think I said that to your first question, that there's a learning curve through expos, and the organizers of a World Expo should probably learn from the previous ones. So they make mistakes, but not exactly the same ones that have already been tested and amended. So I think in this case, I don't know much about 2030 Riyadh. I know that there's a very clear vision that is very well defined, and it's part, actually, even a larger perspective for the country, not just for the site of the city where it will take place. I've seen some ideas about the master plan. I think there's the phase there now is on the planning phase. And in parallel, of course, they need already to start doing some infrastructure, I believe, because the clock is ticking. And one of the most critical resources, very scarce actually, in preparing an expo is time. We never have enough time, but this is also part of the beauty of all this, is to deal and fight against time.
Absolutely. And we're all looking forward to seeing how that
absolutely. It will be fantastic
shape,
for sure.
Doesn't it? Yeah, amazing. Well, Rolando, thank you so much for talking to us today and sharing your amazing insights. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks.
Thank you to everyone that joined us live at the studio at Cityscape Global.